My child, I owe you an explanation. You have waited for me in silence for so long, so faithfully, so quietly, that before anything else today, I need you to understand what I was really doing while you were waiting. And my child, I need you to hear me today before you let go. I know what these last few years have cost you. I know the price you have paid in tears that nobody counted, in prayers that nobody heard, in faith that you held together with nothing but trembling hands and a heart that refused to quit. I know the nights you lay awake staring at the ceiling, not even able to form the words anymore, just lying there with a broken heart open toward heaven, hoping I could still hear what you could no longer say. My child, I heard every single moment of that silence, every single one. You have carried this for so long. Longer than anyone around you understands. The people in your life see someone who is strong, someone who keeps going, someone who smiles and says they are fine. But I see what is underneath that. I see the weight you have been carrying in secret. I see the grief that never fully left. I see the loneliness that moved into your life when people you loved most were taken from you, and how some mornings it still sits at the table with you like an uninvited guest that never leaves. My child, I see all of it. And I have never once looked away. I want to take you to something I said a very long time ago, because these words were not just written for history. I spoke them for you, for this moment, for this season you are walking through right now. In Isaiah 49, I asked this question: can a mother forget the baby she is nursing? Can she stop feeling love for the child she carried? And then I said something I need you to receive today with your whole heart. I said, even if she could forget, I will not forget you. I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. My child, your name is not written in something that fades. It is not written in something that can be erased by time or silence or distance. It is engraved, carved permanently into the hands of the God who spoke the universe into existence. That is how unforgettable you are to me. That prayer you stopped praying out loud, my child. The one that became too heavy to repeat. The one you laid down quietly one night because hope had started to cost you more than you could afford. I need you to know something about that prayer. I never stopped working on it. Not the day you stopped asking. Not the week after. Not in all the months and years that followed. I kept working on it in the silence, behind the scenes, in ways your eyes could not see, and your mind could not follow. Because, my child, I do not abandon what you bring to me. I do not forget what you lay at my feet. Every prayer you have ever prayed is still alive in my hands. There is something I told my servant David in one of his darkest and most frightening seasons of life. David was running. David was afraid. David felt utterly alone. And in the middle of all of that, I wanted him to know something that I want you to know today. In Psalm 56, he wrote the words I placed in his heart. He said, "You have kept count of my every tossing and turning in the night. You have collected every tear I cried and placed it in your bottle, and it is all recorded before you. My child, I kept count of yours too. Every restless night, every tear cried alone in the dark, every moment of silent suffering that no human being ever witnessed. I was there, I was counting, I was collecting, and not one moment of your pain has ever been invisible to me. My child, I know there is something else sitting in your heart today, something heavier than the waiting, heavier even than the silence. It is the fear that perhaps the years have passed, that perhaps too much time has gone by, that perhaps what you believed for is no longer possible. I need you to stop right there and hear me. In Romans 8, I promised you something that time cannot touch and silence cannot cancel. I said that all things, every single thing, the losses, the delays, the broken seasons, the years that felt wasted, All of it is being worked together for your good. Not some of it, not the easy parts, all of it. Every painful chapter of your story is in my hands, and I am writing something with it that you have not yet seen the end of. My child, I want you to understand something about silence that nobody ever taught you. The world taught you that silence means absence. The world taught you that when someone stops speaking, they have stopped caring. And so when my voice grew quiet in your life, when the heavens felt sealed and your prayers felt like they were falling into empty air, you carried that same wound into your relationship with me. You assumed that because you could not hear me, I had stopped listening. You assumed that because you could not feel me, I had moved on. My child, I need you to unlearn that today. My silence has never once meant my absence. My silence has always meant I am working. Think about this with me for a moment. When a surgeon is performing the most delicate and important work of saving a life, the room does not fill with noise. The room grows still. The room grows quiet. Because the work being done requires a precision and a focus that noise cannot exist alongside. My child, that is what my silence in your life has been. It has been the stillness of the most sacred and precise work I have ever done in a human soul. Your soul. While you were sitting in the quiet, wondering where I went, I was inside the deepest parts of your life, doing work that could only be done in stillness, work that your eyes could not witness, work that your mind could not follow, but work that your future will one day stand on. I want to tell you about a man named Lazarus. You know this story, my child, but I want you to hear it differently today. When Lazarus fell sick, the people who loved him sent word to me immediately, and I did not come. I stayed where I was for 2 more days. 2 days of silence, 2 days of waiting, 2 days where the people who trusted me most watched the one they loved slip away, and I did not appear. And in those 2 days, every human heart around that situation concluded the same thing. It is too late. If he was coming, he would have come by now. It is over. My child, do you recognize that feeling? That quiet, devastating conclusion that perhaps your situation has now moved beyond what I am willing or able to do. I want you to hear what I said when I finally arrived. I did not say, I am sorry I was late. I said, I am the resurrection and the life. And then I called Lazarus out of the very thing that everyone had accepted as the final word. My child, I specialize in arriving at what looks like too late. I specialize in speaking into what the world has already called finished. You have been sitting in your own version of those 2 days. That season where the silence stretched so long that somewhere deep inside, without even fully realizing it, you began to make peace with the idea that perhaps this is simply how it ends. Perhaps the prayer will not be answered. Perhaps the person will not return. Perhaps the healing will not come. Perhaps God has simply decided otherwise. My child, I hear that thought. I see it sitting in the corner of your heart, and I am here today to tell you, do not make peace with that thought. Because what I am doing in your life right now is not over. It has not been canceled. It has not been forgotten. It is being finished. And the finishing always happens in a moment that looks, to every human eye, like it is far too late for anything good to still happen. My child, I know there is something else you have been carrying that is perhaps even heavier than the unanswered prayer. It is the regret. Those years that feel wasted. Those roads you walked down that led nowhere. Those choices you made that cost you things you can never get back. You look back sometimes in the quiet of the night and you wonder what your life might have looked like if you had chosen differently, believed more fully, trusted more completely. And the enemy of your soul has used those moments of looking back to whisper a lie into your heart. He has told you that because of what you lost, because of the years that passed, because of the roads you should not have walked, I cannot do what I originally promised. My child, that is a lie. I am not limited by your detours. I am not confused by the roads you took that I did not plan. I am the God who took a man named Joseph, who was thrown into a pit by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and forgotten in a prison cell, and I turned every single one of those wrong roads into the exact path that led him to his destiny. My child, I have been doing the same with yours. In Jeremiah 29, I spoke these words to people who were sitting in the middle of their longest and most painful season of waiting. People who had lost almost everything. People who were far from home and far from hope. And I said to them, I know the plans I have for you. Plans not to harm you. Plans to give you a future and a hope. My child, I spoke those words into the middle of their silence, their confusion, their exile, their years of wondering if I had forgotten them completely. And I am speaking those same words into the middle of yours today. The plan has not changed. The promise has not expired. The future I prepared for you before you were born has not been given to someone else. It is still yours. It has always been yours. And what I'm doing right now in this silence, in this season, in this moment you almost let go, is bringing you closer to it than you have ever been before. My child, there is one more thing I need you to hear before we go further. Something I have been waiting to tell you. Something that will change the way you see everything. Not just the silence, not just the waiting, but the entire journey you have walked with me. And it begins with something that happened in a moment you thought I was not watching. My child, I know you are tired. I know the road has been long, and I know there is a part of you that came here today, not sure if you had anything left to believe with, but you are still here. And that, my child, is not weakness. That is the most courageous kind of faith I have ever seen. The kind that shows up even when it has nothing left. The kind that whispers yes to me, even through tears. I am not done with you. I was never done with you. And the silence you have been sitting in, it was never the end of your story. It was always the beginning of the next chapter. The one I have been